So last night at the rink, I was presented with a question, and
Mhm.
the question was very simple: how much of analytics should we bring to kids hockey?
Oh, I have thoughts. I have thoughts. Okay,
Okay,
because I do a lot of I'm a number cruncher and I have a background in statistics. One of my professors said that I was completely overtrained in statistics.
okay.
So, um, do you have an answer? I have some thoughts.
I have my thoughts. I have my
Yeah,
thoughts. So, mhm,
okay. I think you should record um who scored the goal. You should record assists. These are basic. You always record them. I also think you should record when you did it. And like in the moment, you need that. The other thing is, I don't know how to record this in the moment. You might be able to get this from video afterwards. Is what the line looks like when it happened. Like who were you playing with? Because if I'm making lines later on, I want to know who you're playing well with,
mhm,
right? So the other thing is uh, what the line looks like when you get a shot on goal, even if it's not successful, even if it's not a score, right?
mhm, mhm.
Um, those are my basic thoughts. I think enough to know, so these are basic hockey statistics, right? There's nothing exciting here, but the how you use them and how you get them is the interesting question.
Hmm. Hmm. So what was interesting is that there's these new companies that are coming out, and they're bringing analytics to sports, and not just hockey, but many sports, soccer,
Hmm.
lacrosse, whatever.
Hmm.
And it was presented to me last night. What do you think of these companies that are coming to us, with these analytics? And I said, well, what's interesting is that most of these rinks, we'll just take hockey right now, they
Hmm.
have cameras set up. So there's cameras set up in the rinks, and they have a camera in the middle, and they have cameras at each end. So they have these
Hmm.
three cameras.
Hmm.
And from the three cameras, these companies can use these cameras to take hockey analytics.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I really didn't dive into, exactly what they're analyzing,
Hmm.
but they can analyze more than just goals, assists, penalties, the time of, these infractions or these goals, plus minus, face off wins, giveaways. And so there's a whole bunch of things that kind of go into, hockey analytics. Now,
Hmm.
we know that there's many general managers now trying to use hockey analytics,
Hmm.
for drafting players. And I said, they probably want to get away from missing certain players or NHL Hall of Famers to be, being drafted in the 12th round, like a Luke Robitaille, or the
Hmm.
7th round, like a Paul Coffey. And that list goes on and on. All these Hall of Famers that were drafted late. How do we make sure that we draft these quality players in the right rounds, the first round,
Hmm.
second round, so forth, right? Now, who uses these hockey analytics? Should the parents have the hockey analytics? Should they have all these stats of everything that goes on? Or is it just the coaches that? And then how do the coaches use the hockey analytics? Do they share it with the kids? How much should you share with the players? And how much should you keep and retain to yourself? So it's really quite interesting, because I think the other thing is that we can use the data, but you still need to use that real life watching. Who's passionate about the game? Who does the extra practicing? Who loves showing up to the rink early? Who stays a little bit later? Who's being dragged to the rink, and so there's a whole bunch of things that we really can't use hockey analytics, but you have to use your common sense, but also your human side to evaluate what's going on as well. Because I don't think there's a perfect way to analyze players, to say this is the best player and this is the 100th best player.
Hmm.
There's just too many things involved.
These are all good questions and standard questions for any kind of process improvement program that is based
Hmm,
on statistics, right?
correct. Yes.
Um, and the first question you need to ask is, what is your goal?
Mhm.
What are you trying to do with all these numbers? Because we now, back in the old days, 5 years ago, every number that you calculate or you record, you have to do it by hand, right? But
Yes.
now you have all of this AI that can generate statistics for you, and you can quickly become overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And it's too much. You don't know what to do with it. You also get numbers, you don't know what they mean, right? Um, this is an AI problem as much as it is a human problem. I did X per unit time, right? I
Right.
did, this, and it's like, is a high number good or is a low number good,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
you need to have an understanding of what this represents with respect to your goal.
Mhm.
And so you, if you're going to use this number to change behavior, you better be sure that this is what you're going to optimize on, right? So if, for example, you want people to do more, put through more jobs per hour, like I'm going to complete more pieces per hour.
Mhm.
Well, you got to make sure they're not cutting corners to just put them through quickly. You want them to complete it at a high quality as well. So it's, you have to be careful how you turn the knobs or what metrics that you use to turn the knobs of behavior.
Mhm.
So I think if you can frame in terms of what's the goal, and if the
Mhm.
goal is to rank the best players, sure, I think um, the standard statistics that people use for Hall of Famers, they're as good as anything right now because that's based a lot on human intuition. And the
Mhm.
question is there some other statistic we should be using that we haven't been collecting and using so far because it was too hard? Right?
Mhm.
For example, I'm going to make something up that's going to sound really good, but it doesn't really mean anything.
Sure.
Right? So I want to know if someone's skate patterns conform to a Fourier transformation or if they correspond to the most efficient Bezier curve to get from one side of the ice to the other. Right? And that's the kind of thing that you can generate now, but what does it mean? Who knows? Right?
Mhm.
So, um, but so if you're trying to rank and this is what Moneyball does, right? There was the movie Moneyball
Right.
where
The baseball
and
player, the team.
exactly, and there's all these, there was the thinking behind it that is like we are valuing players the wrong way. We should be looking at how much they earn in runs for us per game, as
Mhm.
opposed to, oh, he's got style, he's got attitude, or he's got, you know, there's this montage in the Moneyball movie where it's these scouts saying things, and it's like, and me, this is the intent of the montage. Me as a layperson who doesn't know anything about baseball goes, what are they saying? Right. And so what you're asking is, can we moneyball hockey? And it's like, we probably can moneyball hockey. There's a pretty good chance that somebody is already moneyballing hockey,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so that's what they're doing with it. And then what do we, if we're doing something other than doing a ranking of players, say, for example, I want to make my players better,
Mhm.
right? I've got a kid on my team, um, and I want him to become a better defense. I have a kid in mind. He skates like he doesn't have a care in the world, right? So the puck goes near him, he just very leisurely goes to the puck, and the forward beats them every time, even if they're coming from on the other side of the ice. Um, I can motivate him by getting him to skate faster in practice. He's, decently good skater, but he just doesn't have the fire in the belly to go and fight for that puck. How do I use analytics to do that? I don't know the answer, but here's what I do know. When you are watching the game, you are following the puck. You are seeing where the action is. With these cameras, you can have a complete record of the entire ice for the entire game. And so you can go back to the video and see what this kid was doing over here in the corner when the action was over here. And you can give them feedback on, oh, you should have been here, you should have been paying attention to this, and see when this puck came in, this is how you could have reacted. So that's something that you can get that you couldn't otherwise get, and is very within your grasp. It's very achievable and it's very understandable.
Absolutely. So, you know what, when I'm listening to you, there's two different analytics. You have your individual skill analytics, and then you have your game analytics. So with your individual skill, obviously we know to improve the player, you know, we improve skating, stick handling, shooting, passing, all those individual skills. And there's a lot more skills than just that. I realize that. And then there's the team skill as well, of the individual, how to play as a team, who's open, who to pass to, how do we move up and how do we move back, how do we work on the power play, how do we work on penalty killing. And then we transition this all over to the game. You know, how much have they retained? How much confidence do they have in themselves? And as we go through, there's, you know, we can evaluate through analytics of the game. Oh, this player made 10 good passes, but gave away 10 bad plays, you know, gave the puck up 10 times. So is it through, you know, we can analyze, okay, maybe there's a situation where here, what is that player doing during a certain time? So, and, you know, some players that score, wow, this player is really good. They had 3 goals. And this player over here didn't have any goals. But then when we watched, the player had 3 goals standing at the far blue line waiting for the pass. He's never in your end. So there's a lot more behind the scenes than just evaluating goals and assist points. It's really, is he playing as a team? Is she in the correct position? You know, as we're going through. So there's a lot to take in. There is a lot to take in. And the simpler you can make it, the better it is for everyone. Because once you've got too much, you know, anything more than 3, you know, we're going to lose anybody, you know, even at the high end adults. So, you know, I think with kids, you just want to keep it very simple and engaging. You want to keep them engaged all the time. That compliment. Here we are talking about complimenting last week. We can't go straight into correcting right away. We almost have to give 2 to 3 compliments, correction, and 2 or 3 more compliments to make them feel good, right? Before we're coming out of that evaluation period. So, yeah, and closing the gap on individual skills. Well, as the kids get older, they're going to get better anyways. So we know that their skating is going to be stronger, faster, but it's kind of presented to them. We need to, you know what, where do we need to close the gap? Can you raise the puck? No, maybe that's something we can work on. So let's start learning how to raise the puck. How are your crossovers? Good one way, not good the other way. Well, maybe that's something we work on this year. So maybe every year we have an individual goal, you know, for the skills. And then we have those team skills as well. Keeping it simple. You know, it's not overwhelm our players for success.
So, I have a question for you. When you were a player, did you use video at all?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Now, hang on. I'm thinking back when I was like 6 and 7, you know, my dad would do the videoing. Do you mean when I was at college?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, did your coach? Yeah, exactly. I mean, the analytics are new, but we've had video for a long time.
So I graduated from university, hang on to your pants, 1991. And so, you know, we're talking 30 plus years ago. And back then they would have someone in the stands videoing every single game, and they would then analyze the game and then have more of a correction period. So, and it was more of a teaching period because there's just so much to watch, and you can only sit in a room for so long. You can sit there and watch the whole game for 3 hours, and you know, that wouldn't be any good for anybody. So, but yeah, it was really great to watch, and it was very difficult to watch because the first thing you would say, do I skate like that? Oh my gosh, I skate awful. You know, all of a sudden we get self-evaluating ourselves. Oh my God, look at me skate. Look at me this, look at me that. What am I doing? So once you kind of get over that, then you can kind of move forward into, see right here, Dave, you know what? You're about 10 feet ahead of the play. If you're 10 feet back of the play, you're in a better position to break out. You know, and simple things like that would really benefit each and every hockey player, you know, as we move forward. But yes, We didn't have it in junior or midget, so it was just probably just coming in. It was just probably coming
Yeah.
into times. Yes.
And based on how much we know about analytics in hockey, I think you'll get most of the benefit from that video.
Mhm.
And based on what I know about analytics, you can generate these numbers, but until we get smarter about what numbers are important, unless you have a propeller head who's willing to really go down deep into the numbers
Mhm.
and figure out what is meaningful for your team, because
Mhm.
every team is different. The ice is different. The people on the team is different. The skills, like every team is different.
Mhm.
And this is what we do in industry is like we have to, any model that we use, we have to tune for the particular environment. We're in oil and gas. We know the theory is this way, but we got to make the model work for this particular drill, right?
That's correct.
This
Yes.
particular oil well. So I think that's kind of where we're at in terms of the analytics. I think we on a human scale, if we have the video, we can, watch it together and learn, right? It's very basic.
Absolutely. And you have to gauge it towards whatever age, skill, that we're dealing with. And each and every team is different too. So I was just thinking about your select team or maybe
Mhm.
Darcy's select team. And if you videoed the game, you just want to keep it very simple. You know what? All right, this is kind of where we are as a team. We got two defense in the defensive zone, but the puck is in the offensive zone.
Mhm.
We need those defense to move up. You know what?
Mhm.
But maybe in the head, those defense are thinking, we cannot let any goals in. We're going to stay back here and protect our net. But they need to learn that. And you just kind of magically show in the video, right? This is where we want you to be. And then as the puck moves up and down, this is how we're going to try and work as a team. It works so much more efficiently
Mhm.
and better for two things. Number one, to move forward offensively, to create battles when we do lose the puck, so we can get that puck back and start attacking again.
What do you think is a good age to start doing this?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm just guessing 9.
Okay. Um, that's not a bad guess. I think 5 is too young, 6 is too young, 7 is too young. 8's
Mhm.
a maybe, 12, middle school age, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Middle school, grade 6, 7, 8, right? So we're aligned, we're not too far apart here.
Mhm.
Um, I think the key is self-awareness,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
This is one of the things. So middle school, you're starting to develop the self-awareness, and then high school, you've really got the self-awareness, and that's why teenagers have so much angst that it's like
Yes.
they're all self-awareness, right?
Yes.
But until you have that self-awareness, you can't self-criticize, right?
Mhm.
You can't see something on the screen and relate that to something that you need to do.
Mhm.
That's me. That's me. I
Mhm.
can control that.